everybody ready for their swearing-in ceremonial activities? If you don't mind, please stand. Raise your right hand. I state your name.
I,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
and the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
the ordinances of the City of Greensburg,
the ordinances of the City of Greensburg,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and that I faithfully and impartially
perform my duties as a member
perform my duties as a member
of the Redevelopment Commission
of the Redevelopment Commission
according to law and to the best of my ability,
according to law and the best of my abilities.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, everybody. We will turn the meeting over to Attorney Chris Stephen to lead us until we elect new officers for 2020. Ron is handing out the signature pages for the oath, and then I'll sign those at the end.
Well, it being 6:45, or shortly thereafter, we will commence. If I could ask everyone, I apologize, I know you're all signing, but if I could ask everyone to stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For the record, this is a special meeting of the City of Greensburg Redevelopment / TIF Commission, but it is also the first meeting of this body since the appointment of many new members of the new year, as is always the case. So at this time, it is necessary for this body to elect officers. So I would open up the nominations for president.
I'll make a motion for President Dave Weigel.
Okay, we have one nomination for Dave Weigel.
Second.
There's a second for that.
Make a motion to close the nominations.
There's a motion to close.
Second.
There's a second. Mr. Weigel, do you accept the nomination?
Yes.
Mr. Weigel accepts the nomination. Do I have any additional discussion on Mr. Weigel? I'm sorry, Dr. Weigel, I apologize. For Dr. Weigel as president of the Redevelopment Commission. Hearing none, I will say all those in favor of him in that position, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Dr. Weigel, it's now your meeting.
So I guess now we have to elect the vice president. I'll open the floor for nominations for vice president.
Adam.
I guess I'm allowed to second that. I'll second that. Can I move the nominations to be closed?
Sure.
I'll
Second.
move the nominations to be closed.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? Those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Okay.
Thank you, Adam. We need a secretary. We'll open up the floor for secretary.
Clear rock, paper, scissors.
So we've actually had a situation in the past where we actually paid someone from the outside, it was by Evan McKenzie, $50 per meeting to do that, be our secretary. So if you're not wanting to, and we can nominate Ken and throw him under the bus, or we could look at hiring someone, possibly, whatever the discussion is.
I really don't want to pay someone.
Okay. So would you be willing to be, if you're nominated?
I'll accept it if you nominate me.
You want to do it because I don't want kids on the team. I'll nominate Darryl Coleman as our secretary.
I'll second that. Then I'll move the nominations to be closed.
Second.
Any discussion? Those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Thank you, Darryl.
We
Motion
appreciate
carries.
it.
Okay.
One meeting.
Is there any rush on when minutes have to be approved?
Based on how we're doing the rest of this, I don't think you necessarily, you don't have to approve these minutes. However, I don't think there's anything to stop you from approving them either if you want to. If the individuals that are here feel comfortable approving the minutes, then I think you can certainly do that. If you all would feel more comfortable waiting until there are more members present to discuss them, and particularly members that were physically present for that meeting, you can certainly move to table that approval. It's not necessary for this.
I mean, normally if I'm not at the meeting, I always abstain, but if you think that it is, I have read the minutes, and approve them as read.
I don't think there, are there any, have you noticed any corrections?
No, those, we don't actually have to approve those, right, they'll stand as presented.
They
So,
stand approved.
Yeah, so we don't, I think that's more of these minutes you're referring to, correct, today's meeting?
Well, yeah, so the important piece of business for you all tonight will be the issue that will be raised by Engineer May when he begins at the next old business component. So if you wanted to table those, I don't think there is a problem doing that.
I entertain a motion to table this for this evening, the minutes.
So. Simmons, right?
Yes. Second.
Yeah, second.
Second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. We'll approve those later. Under old business, Mr. May, city engineer, if you'd like to lead us through this, and
Yes, good evening.
good evening.
Before I start on that, normally we do a roll call when one wasn't done. Is it important to do that for the record?
Oh, I apologize. I'll go ahead and do that. So. Gotta make sure I know everybody that's supposed to be on here. I will. What's that?
I got a list for you.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I don't have first names, but I know them all.
Okay, I'll go through, Dr. Weigel,
Present.
Adam Wetzel,
Present.
Daryl Poland,
Present.
Ken Dornick, not present, Steve Dorflinger, not present. Who am I missing?
Jamie Humber.
Oh, Jamie Humber, not present.
All right, thank you.
Sorry.
Good evening. The primary purpose for the meeting tonight is to facilitate payment on the last right-of-way parcel acquisition. And in order to consolidate all of this process in one meeting and one set of minutes for purposes of getting to the bank to make a draw on the line of credit or the payment bond, and also to simplify things when we go to the state, both for the right-of-way certification and also for getting reimbursement. It's my recommendation to you that you first reaffirm your acceptance of the settlement agreement. You actually approved that in your meeting in December, but I think it would be good for the minutes to reflect via a motion that you.
I'll entertain a
reaffirm that.
motion to reaffirm our settlement agreement.
So moved.
Thank you, Adam. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Daryl. Any discussion?
And
Those
that
in favor
is
signify by saying
the settlement agreement for S&P Development property.
correct.
Aye.
Okay, sorry. Motion carries.
The next order of business, the reason in December that we tried to make a partial payment on that was because there were funds in the 2019 budget for right-of-way purchases. It turned out that there was actually $1 million in last year's budget. Your agreement exceeds that amount. In discussions with the new clerk treasurer, we are, with your approval, going to encumber the $1 million from last year's budget, move it into the 2020 budget. in doing that, there should be enough money for the 2020 budget for the anticipated expenditures for the Veterans Way Phase 2 project for the remainder of the year. So if you would approve encumbering $1 million from 1919 to be forwarded into the 2020 budget.
I'll entertain a motion that we encumber the $1 million from the 2019 budget to move to the 2020
So
budget.
moved.
Thank you, Adam. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Darrell. Any discussion? Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries.
In the pile of information that you had on your desk is something that's quite colorful and looks like this. You may all remember, well, Darrell wouldn't because he wasn't here last year, but sometime late summer last year, the bank had asked for a revised budget and the budget was updated and you approved it. This is a further revised budget, and the primary change is the budget for right-of-way acquisition, now knowing what that final number is. So that was increased a little bit, or a lot. And the other change, I believe, was the construction estimate. We moved it up just a little bit also. These dollars are all things that fit within MDOT's budget for the project and the draw bond that the city has. So moving a few dollars around a little bit here still works well for the project. If you would approve or revise this proposed budget.
I'll accept or entertain a motion to approve the revised project budget.
So moved.
Thank you, Darrell. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Adam. Any discussion? Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries.
In your meeting in December, you approved payment in the amount of $727,000 for various administrative reasons, one of which was we never ended up with a set of signed minutes. That payment never got issued. It is my recommendation to you that you revoke approval of the $727,000 and then also approve payment in the amount of $1,250,000 for the S&P development right-of-way acquisition.
Can we do that all in one motion? Or should we revoke? and
I
would probably do two.
think it'll be cleaner to explain to all of our partners.
I would entertain a motion that we revoke our decision to pay $727,000 in 2019.
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. And then I'd entertain a motion to approve payment of $1,250,000
So moved.
for the acquisition out of the bond. Darrell makes a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second from Adam. Any discussion? Those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed, motion carries.
The plan going forward is that minutes from tonight's meetings will be generated and you are scheduled to meet again on Thursday evening. And in that meeting, you may approve those minutes, and then we will have all of the necessary documentation to go to the financial institution and obtain the funds. I believe that will work slightly different than it has in the past. Previously, the institution issued a check made jointly payable to the city and to the vendor. I believe they will actually deposit the funds in your Redevelopment Commission checking account, and so the payment will be issued on a check from the city. That will work better with NDOT for sure. They were a little confused the last time, so it'll be a little cleaner to do it this way. That is, I think, what needs to happen tonight for this particular matter.
I think we have it all taken care of then, right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Ron.
If there's no other discussion, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank God.
Second.
Thank you, Dale. Meeting is adjourned. See you in just under 48 hours.
48 hours.
One of the